Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome Havre City Council meeting. Before we begin our regularly scheduled meeting, we're going to hold a public hearing on 3 ordinances that had a prior first reading at a previous council meeting. That's going to be ordinance 1096, 1097, and ordinance 1098. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off at one at a time. We're going to do ordinance 1096 concerning amending chapter 97, section 4, Historic Preservation Commission. Madam Secretary, could I please have you read the header to the record?
Yes. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11-E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, to amend Chapter 97, Sections 4, Historic Preservation Commission.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. So normally what I do, if I have a pre-filled out form that a citizen filled out online or at the door, I'll call on those citizens first, but I have no pre-filled out forms for this ordinance, so I will call on the audience at large. Is anyone here this evening to speak on ordinance 1096? Any comments from the council on 1096? Okay, without comments from public, I will close ordinance 1096 public hearing at 7:03. Okay, the next ordinance for a public hearing is going to be ordinance 1097 concerning declaring surplus property to Habitat for Humanity. Madam Secretary, could you also please read this header into the record?
An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11-E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, for the purpose of declaring certain real property owned by the Mayor and City Council surplus property and no longer needed for any public purpose for public use, and offered at a nominal fee to Havre Habitat for Humanity to construct 3 homes as part of their home build construction projects.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. At this time, I have no pre-filled out forms for speakers for 1097. Is anybody in the audience here this evening to speak on 1097? Sir. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the public hearing. May you please have your name and address for the record?
Norman Obenchain, living at 101 North Union Avenue in Havre de Grace. This is a great thing to do. There is a technical error here in that there is no Harford Habitat for Humanity. It's the Susquehanna Habitat for Humanity. It covers both Harford and Cecil counties. But this is a great thing to do, and I certainly encourage it. It's just there's that technical matter. I don't know if that's going to impact things or not, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. Thank you.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. Okay. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Anyone else wish to speak on 1097? Any comments from council? Okay. Any further comments? I now close public hearing on ordinance 1097. Okay, we're going to go to ordinance 1098 concerning amending code, City Code 147, rental property. Madam Secretary, could you please read the header into the record?
An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11-E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, to amend City Code, Chapter 147, rental property.
Thank you very much. I do have 2 forms pre-filled out by citizens to speak before I call on the audience at large. And the first speaker I'd like to call forward, Mr. Mike Jones. Good evening, Mr. Jones, and welcome to the meeting. May we please have your name and address just for the record, please.
My name is Mike Jones, 625 South Washington.
Welcome.
Thank you. Generally, I don't oppose the legislation. I think the licensing is a good idea, but I got some things that maybe you ought to think about in terms of not so much this particular group, because at some point we're all going to move on. It's for the next group that comes in to regulate this. Line 70 talks about 30 consecutive days. I think that probably ought to be 28 so that nobody argues about whether February is part of a short-term or a long-term rental period. Line 90 talks about requirements and documentation set forth by the Department of Planning. And at this point in the process, I would think the council already has those documentation and requirements, or the requirements all set up, so that should probably be part of this legislation as well. Heading down to section 147.17, you've given exceptions for properties located outside. I think you should consider making those same exceptions for properties inside, provided that there are more than 60 applicants, and there are some people that are doing it that are going to be excluded because they couldn't get a license. I think that'd be beneficial. Jumping down to line 125, do we know how many Airbnbs or short-term rentals there are in the city right now?
There were under 40 last time I checked.
140?
Under 40.
Under 40.
Under 40, yep.
And then on line 128 talks about the examination of what effect 127 and 128 talks about the effect short-term rentals will have on neighborhoods. Does that need to be defined any more clearly as to what we're looking for to establish what those effects might be?
I'll look into it. Yeah, I'm not sure. I know parking was one of the issues that we discussed during workshop, keeping people into the downtown area so everybody was kind of walkable from their locations. But from a legal purpose, generally, it's the health, safety, and general welfare is the kind of catch-all that we do with that. But I'll look into that to see if we need to define it more. Thank you.
Jumping to 131 and 132, it talks, the last part of that sentence talks about adjusting use taxes as appropriate. As I understand it, the sales and use is state imposed. Is there any possible way the city can adjust those? That's not a question you have to answer now. Let's just throw it out there for thought. Line 143 talks about a life safety compliance verification. I guess this would be specific to me since I've recently passed my final inspection on my house and my cottage dwelling. At this point, do we have an idea what that compliance is going to be other than what I've already been through?
Your house is new, so I don't think you would have to do anything else, but it's smoke detectors in every room that are wired together, that are hardwired together, carbon monoxide detectors in every bedroom, fire extinguisher in the kitchen. But I think it should be, since your house is new, it's everything that was currently required under the building code. So
I wasn't required to have carbon monoxide detectors in the cottage dwelling because I don't have any fossil fuel combustion.
Okay, well then it shouldn't be an issue maybe.
And then the fire extinguisher, should you not, I could go to Home Depot and get a $15 fire extinguisher that won't put anything out, or do I get or should you specify what fire extinguisher you expect these folks to have when they do these short-term rentals? Jumping to 164, it talks about 48-hour notice to the property owner for an inspection. My concern there would be if I'm on vacation and I have no one in this unit and I can't make 48 hours, is somebody going to ding me? So either do you define the reasons for the inspection and the short notice, or clarify that in some way? Jumping down to 180, it talks about in situations deemed an emergency. I'm not quite sure what that would, that's pretty open-ended. So I'd encourage you to look at that. Jumping down to 184, fraudulently or deceptively. 182, 183, and 184 are essentially the same sentence in slightly different ways. Whether they stay or not, I don't know if it makes a difference, but I would encourage you to look at that. And that is everything I had. Questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Do you have that all in writing? And is that something that you could email to us so that we can make sure that we address those?
I can put it in email form and send it.
Okay, that'd be lovely. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Carrie Parsons? Good evening, welcome. May we please have your name and address for the record?
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Carrie Parsons, 840 Otsego Street here in
Thank you.
Havre de Grace. Thank you so kindly. I greatly appreciate you. Mayor, City Council, and citizens, thank you for a moment of your time. Regarding Ordinance 1098, amending City Code 147, rental property, it's monumental, and I completely comprehend everything you're trying to do, and I appreciate the very long hours that the council and staff involved in putting this entire thing together. I do beg the city and staff to remember a very simple rule regarding Chapter 147 rental property in its entirety. The moment there's an agreement between two or more parties, it becomes a form of a business transaction. Please remember that very simple fundamental rule as the applications, and we all know the phones will be ringing, as the complaints begin to filter into City Hall. That bedroom, the accessory dwelling unit you wish to rent out becomes a business transaction. Fees, taxes, water, sewer, code violations, upgrade, anything required by the city for a business to do within their city limits on that property becomes a business expense, not a personal expense. So please forgive my ignorance. However, when I aligned Ordinance 147 to the existing chapter, there are a couple areas of concern. I did email Mr. Tim all of my comments and recommendations and changes and questions. I'll provide it to you, ma'am, so you are also in the loop. Starting with the existing moratorium going back to April 18, 2011. According to my little cranium, even approving this ordinance, it appears the cities could be limited with enforcement until that moratorium is lifted. Few of the loopholes I located within the proposed district, and I highly recommend removing it entirely and replacing it with the phrase city limits with emphasis directly into a zoning area. Use the zoning code, RB, whatever. But don't create another district. It'll cause confusion. The one loophole I mentioned has to do with subletting. Take, for instance, a person or a company takes out a long-term lease on a property. Within the lease agreement, there is not a clause regarding sublet or short-term guests. That person or company can then sublet to another party for short-term. It's a loophole within your ordinance and inside that district that you're trying to create. I kind of suggest maybe adding in the term sublet to include. Second situation is the person or company owns the property just outside the boundary. I'm going to call that property their office. That office address is listed on the short-term website, but the pictures are property being rented inside your proposed district. Again, these are just potential loopholes that I've thought of. Potential fix, again, to these hypothetical situations is to add the term sublet. Remove the actual district, go with the zoning. That's why you created it. Researching within the city's website, I was unable to locate any code checklist nor any mention of having any Maryland lead certificate, as mentioned in the proposed ordinance and within Chapter 147. Might I recommend using one of the standard HUD inspection checklists to avoid confusion or seek assistance from the public housing office right up here at the street. They'll be able to provide a full checklist that they utilize on their properties continuously, annually, and they're already pre-approved by the federal government. Finally, a majority of the properties that fall within Chapter 147, I've provided that information. They're underneath LLCs. To protect the city and any HOA within the city limits, might I suggest that the city add within the code that they require a current copy from the state of Maryland comptroller and an official letter from any HOA that the property and the company, or LLC, is in good standing prior to issuance of any permit or renewal of any permit or occupancy. Again, I thank you, Council Members Shenegis and Tim. I greatly thank you, along with all of the city staff that apparently provided countless hours into the designation of writing of this ordinance. I did email you, sir, with everything. I thank you for your time. And ma'am, if you would like a hard copy, I have a hard copy for you, a copy of the checklist. Mr. Tim has it electronically.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. I have no other pre-filled out forms on ordinance 1098. Any other citizen in the audience wish to speak? Any comments from the council? Okay, without any further comments on ordinance 1098, I declare the public hearing to be closed. The time is 7:18 p.m. I'll do it. We'll roll on into our council meeting now. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is March 6, 2023. The time is now 7:18 p.m., and we call to order a meeting of the Havre Grace Mayor and City Council. Could I be kind enough to ask everyone to stand for Pledge of Allegiance and opening prayer? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could ask everybody to kindly remain standing as I call forward Minister Christy Presbury of Agape Church. Good evening and welcome. Thank you very much for being here.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me. Please bow your head to pray with me. Dear wise and loving Heavenly Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here this evening to come before your throne of grace and to welcome your presence. Thank you for your manifold and abundant blessings that you give unto us all daily. Thank you for the gift of life itself and for loving us with your boundless grace and mercy. Lord, we take this moment also tonight to thank you for the ability to be involved in the useful work of servant leadership for your people and for the honor and privilege of bearing appropriate civil and governmental responsibilities. In the scriptures of your word, you have said that citizens ought to obey the governing authorities, since you have established those very authorities to promote peace, order, and justice. Therefore, I pray for our mayor and for the various levels of city officials present here, and in particular for the assembled city council gathered here tonight. Lord, I'm asking that you would graciously grant them all wisdom to navigate the conflicting interests and issues of our times with open hearts and open minds, with the spirit of unity, a confidence and sense of the welfare and true needs for all of the Havre de Grace residents, personal peace in their lives and joy in their daily tasks as they seek to do good wills for our community and for our citizens. Lord, I pray for the smooth execution of tonight's agenda set before them this evening. Lastly, Father, please give us an assurance of what would please you and what would benefit those who live and work in and around our beloved city of Havre de Grace. We lift up these humble requests together unto you, wise and loving Heavenly Father, in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus, I pray. Amen.
Mr. Presbury, thank you very much. Well said. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to excuse me, my excitement to say the Pledge of Allegiance. I forgot to take the roll call, so let me take attendance real quick. Looking for the list that has everybody's names on it. Here we go.
That was the short list.
Council President.
Here.
Councilmember Martin.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Shenegis.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson. Councilmember Zinner.
Here.
Thank you. Okay, item number 5 on tonight's agenda. Item number 5 is going to be the approval of the City Council meeting minutes for February 21st, 2023. Council may have a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Shenegis. Questions or comments on the meeting minutes?
I won't be voting, I wasn't here.
Duly noted. Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. City Council meeting minutes of February 21st, 2023 are approved 4-0 in the affirmative. We will move to item 6, comments from citizens. This is the part of this evening's agenda. If you wish to speak on an item that's on the agenda, now's the time to do so. If you're also here this evening because you wish to speak of any other matter of city business, now's the time to do so as well. So just like the public hearing, what I'll do is if I have a pre-filled out form, I will call on that person first. And when I'm done the forms, I will call on any citizen in the audience that wishes to speak. And I do have one form, and that's Reverend Norman Obenchain. Good evening and welcome, and we have your address on record from the last time you spoke. So welcome back to the podium.
Mayor, thank you very much. I want to speak to the special event Way of the Cross and encourage you to approve that. This is a longstanding tradition in Havre Grace, and we are every year very well protected by our police department. Thank you, Chief. They keep us safe as we're crossing the streets. As we go out and on Good Friday pray for the businesses and the churches and the establishments and the people of Havre Grace. So I just encourage you to approve it, and thank you very much.
We thank you. Thanks for putting in a word. Any other member or citizen in the audience wish to address the council? Sir. Sorry. Welcome back, Mr. Jones, and we have your name and record on, or name and address on record.
Mike Jones, 625 South Washington. I submitted a waiver on the moratorium on 113. I don't know what the next step is in that, if you could
Yes.
enlighten me.
We'll have the city attorney address the council on that.
So I'm not sure if council received it in time to get in the packets, Mr. Gamatoria.
It was received on the 3rd.
Okay, so there was a written submission by Mr. Jones. It has not gotten into the packets in time for today's meeting. So you have the choice to either consider it tonight, go into closed session, and we can get it printed up, or you can put off to another date to consider if you want to get city attorney advice to go into closed session for that, or if you want to just consider it at the next council meeting. It's up to you.
I think we should wait for the next council meeting so we can confer in the meantime individually, according to the Open Meetings Act, and you can compile the information for us so we can have time to look over it versus going in tonight. I know that you're on a timeline, but
Not much is going to change.
I know. I just don't want to get the stuff and then we don't have time to consider it and we're expected to fully delve into it tonight and be here till 1 in the morning kind of thing. But we also don't want to delay you specifically. So we're going to try to move on this post haste. We'll get it on the next agenda.
Okay.
If it needs to go into closed session, then we will. But that'll give us time to review it instead of just going in blind tonight.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Second, I'm sorry.
I say thank you, Council President, and thank you, Mr. Jones.
Second thing is, the other speaker on the rental, this has really nothing to do with the rental ordinance, but the second speaker talked about the business use of the rental, and there is a business aspect of it, but I would encourage the council to get an interpretation from the attorney, city attorney. The Court of Appeals in this state has made it very clear that a renting of a residential building, a single-family dwelling, an accessory use, a cottage dwelling, does not change the use because the tenant itself is still using the building as a residence. And the case is Loudon versus Bosley, and it's from 2006. I don't know that it's been challenged, but it certainly has been overturned. So I would encourage you to look at that because that does impact some of the interpretations. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Jones. Ms. Allen. Welcome, and may we please have your name and address for the record.
Good evening, Carol Allen, 1814 Market Street.
Welcome.
And I just want to let you know that I'm here in case there are any questions about the dune buggy show that's proposed on one of your events. So if there are questions at that point on the agenda, I'm available.
Thank you very much. Any other citizens wish to address the council on any matter of city business or an item on the agenda? Any questions from the council members? Okay, we will move on.
Fires, Manx, Dune Buggies, that's gonna be fun.
Item number 7 is going to be appointments, and this evening we actually have a few appointments. 2 appointments to the Cultural Exchange Commission and an appointment to the Economic Development Advisory Board. So we'll start with the Cultural Exchange Commission appointments, and the liaison to that commission is going to be Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor, I move that we consider for appointment to the Cultural Exchange Commission, Ms. Anise Bloom and Mr. Ian McCready.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by Councilmember Martin. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The appointments of Ms. Anise Bloom and Ian McCready is approved 5-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, Council. And we're going to go to item B, an appointment to the Economic Development Advisory Board. And that liaison is Councilmember Robertson, who's not here this evening, so I will hand that off to the ever-present Council President.
And that's for the cultural exchange. I apologize, I was looking at the law.
Okay, no problem.
Which portion
I'll
was that?
make the motion.
What's that?
Do you want me to make the motion?
Yeah.
Mayor, I make a motion that we appoint to the EDAB Heather Dino.
Second?
Council, have a motion by Councilmember Boyer and it's seconded by Councilmember Shanegas. The appointment of Ms. Heather Dino to the Economic Development Advisory Board. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The appointment of Ms. Heather Dino to the Economic Development Advisory Board is approved 5-0 in the affirmative. Thank you very much, Council. We're going to go to item number 8, the oath of office. So I would like to swear in the candidates. So what I'd like to do is I'll call the two, not candidates, but the new members, rather. I'd like to call Ms. Bloom and Mr. McCready up to the center well, please. And then when we finish that, I will do Ms. Dino.
Casey, I was looking up the law. April, I sent you that case that he spoke of, you and Tim. Yeah.
This should be up here.
Oh, Ms. Bloom? Thank you very much. Here's how we're going to approach this. And I want to thank both of you for being willing to dedicate your time to the Cultural Exchange Commission. I personally know the chair of this commission, and she's a taskmaster, but I tell you what, she's very organized, and she has taken this commission from an idea to a thriving, prosperous commission for the city, one that is near and dear to all of us. So thank you for being part of it, and I have a feeling we'll be traveling together soon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this oath of office. I'm going to ask you both to please raise your right hand. And when I say the word I, you both say the word I, but sir, say your name, then Anise, say your name, and then just repeat after me after that, okay? Okay, ready? I,
Ian McCready,
I, Anise Bloom,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill the requirement,
that I will fulfill the requirements
the office I'm about to assume,
of the office I'm about to assume.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution,
I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will be faithful,
faithful,
that I will be faithful,
bear true allegiance
true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
and support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof,
and laws thereof,
and that I will faithfully and impartially
faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
fear or favor of prejudice,
without fear or favor of prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duty
as a member of
as a member of
the Cultural Exchange Commission
Cultural Exchange Commission
the Cultural Exchange Commission
for the city of Havre de Grace,
of Havre de Grace,
of the city of Havre de Grace
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
Got it. Well done.
thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you. And walk over real quick. We have a couple things for you to sign. Can we just get a quick picture of us? Yeah, sure. Anybody here for Cultural Exchange Commission?
No, I just, because it's for the part of the records, I just want to make sure. Yeah, yeah.
First of all, let me thank you personally for
No problem.
being able to spend time on the Economic Development Advisory Board. We appreciate that. Business and a lot. Thank you.
I'm actually very excited. I used to do this for, my living, and so being able to do it as a volunteer, I'm very excited. It's me away from the wood shop and epoxy.
Get you away from the wood shop?
And the epoxy, and my husband, so.
That's awesome. Well, and for the record, since you're up here, you go ahead and tell the public your business in Havre de Grace.
Oh, okay. So my husband and I, we own the wood shop TD's Badass Creations. I see a niece. She's one of our customers. We have over 900 live edge slabs, and We custom make tables, mantles, shelving, charcuterie boards, or it's a DIY store. You can come in our shop, you can buy the materials and take it home and do it yourself. We also are just makers, and we like to make. So we started our business during COVID because we had COVID and we both lost our jobs, and so instead of waiting for life to take us, we decided to take it ourselves. So that's our business.
Excellent.
Yeah, we have over 3,000 customers. We're getting people from about 300-mile radius down from New York City all the way up from DC. Quite frequently, when they come to visit us, we send them to downtown Havre Grace. We've gone already through 2 maps of the city. So, yes.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much for the background on it. So
Yeah.
the folks at home know who this young lady is who's serving on economic development.
Yeah, no problem.
Well, here's what we're going to do. Just like the previous 2 commission members, I'm going to ask you please to raise your right hand. I say the word "I." You say the word "I," but also say your name.
Okay.
I
I,
say your name.
Heather Deno,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will fulfill
that I will fulfill
the requirements
the requirements
of the office I'm about to assume.
of the office I'm about to assume,
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
That I will be faithful
that I will be faithful
and bear true allegiance
and bear true allegiance
to the state of Maryland,
to the state of Maryland,
support the Constitution
and support the Constitution
and laws thereof.
and laws thereof,
That I will faithfully and impartially,
that I will faithfully and impartially,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
without fear of favor or prejudice,
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member of
as a member of
the Havre de Grace Economic Development Advisory Board,
the Havre de Grace Economic Development Advisory Board
City of Havre de Grace,
for the city of Havre de Grace
to the best of my abilities.
to the best of my abilities.
Well done.
Okay.
We would love to, and if you ever need one that fades or rips, just email us or stop by. Absolutely. We honor the flag.
There's somebody,
You don't have to treat that like your last, but fly it proudly. Please stand here real quick.
Say Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Okay, we go to item number 9 on this evening's agenda is going to be recognitions. This evening, we have no recognitions. Item 10, proclamations. This evening, we have no proclamations. Item 11, presentations. This evening, we have no presentations. Item 12, resolutions, and we have nothing to resolve. That leads us to item 13, ordinances. And we do have one ordinance for a first reading. That's going to be an ordinance concerning amending sections of City Code 205 zoning, and we'll be handing off the introduction of this ordinance to the council member in charge of the planning committee. That's going to be Councilmember Shenagus.
Good evening. I move to introduce ordinance concerning amending section of City Code 205 zoning in the first reading.
Very good, thank you. Councilmember, I have a motion by Councilmember Shenagus. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Martin. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance on first reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance carries 5-0 in the affirmative. Madam Secretary, this ordinance has been introduced. Can you please read the header and assign the ordinance a number?
Yes, this will be ordinance number 1099. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, to amend sections of City Code 205 zoning.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. Council, I have a motion to adopt on first reading ordinance 1099.
So moved.
Motion by Councilman Martin, seconded by the Council President. Questions or comments? Councilmember Shenanigans?
This zoning ordinance is designed to prepare our city to be zoned appropriately when the new marijuana legislation comes to pass in July 2023.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Shenanigans, any other questions or comments? Okay, Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on ordinance 1099. Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes. Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson? Oh, sorry, not here. Sorry about that. Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative. Ordinance 1099 is adopted by council on first reading, 5-0. Council President, when would you like to have the public hearing on this? You are correct, sir. Okay. We will have a public hearing on ordinance 1099 at the next council meeting on March 20th. And it'll be preceding the next council meeting, so it'll be 7 o'clock here, council chambers. Okay, we're going to go to item 14, old business. This evening we have no old business. Item 15, new business, and we have a couple things in new business. We have a budget amendment and some special events to approve. And the budget amendment 2023-12 was going to be probably introduced by Councilmember Robertson. Council President, you want to introduce that?
I will do that, but give me a moment here so I can find the proper account numbers. I make a motion to introduce Budget Amendment 2023-12, authorizing spending of Lower Susquehanna Heritage Greenway Award.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Shenanigans. This is a Budget Amendment 2023-12. Questions or comments? Council President?
I made a motion to introduce. Would I have to wait for the second vote? I apologize.
No, you can talk about it right now.
Well, this is, the city received $4,968 from the Lower Susquehanna Heritage Greenway for pedestrian counters and bicycle racks. And this is just a pass-through. We get the money from them. It's allowing us to spend it. Sir?
Okay. Thank you very much, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Okay. This is for Budget Amendment 2023-12. Y'all don't mind, I want to get a roll call vote on this. Councilmember Zinner?
Yes.
Councilmember Ringstocker?
Yes.
Councilmember Martin?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
A roll call vote of 5-0 in the affirmative. Budget Amendment 2023-12 is approved. And Council President, do you happen to have those account numbers handy?
Yes, sir. It would be an amount of $5,000 total from account 01-001, I apologize, let me start. 01-0001-46-04, going to total of $5,000 to account 01-1071-6206.
Thank you very much, Council President. Sir, appreciate it. We're going to go to item B, special events. We have 7 special events on this evening's docket, and we're going to work with the Director of Administration, Mr. Gamatoria, on the details. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, before you, the first of many special events this evening. The first one is the Way of the Cross, sponsored by the Susquehanna Ministerium. The point of contact will be Jan Biondo. This is as described by Pastor Norman earlier under his comments. It'll take place on the 7th of April, starting at noon, ending at 2. There will be a minor setup at 11 a.m. Breakdown will be at 2:30. There's a map associated with your packet, and also I've had conversations with Ms. Biondo as well as with the chief on making sure that the folks are protected as they traverse through the town on the Way of the Cross. In your packet also is the number of stops and the locations in which those areas will be. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gamatoria. Council, I have a motion to approve Way of the Cross.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Martin, seconded by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments on the event? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Way of the Cross Walk, April 7, 2023, 12 to 2, downtown. Starts at David Craig Park, ends at Lafayette Plaza. This event is approved 5-0. Mr. Gamatoria.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, the second event is the Defenders Day Food and Truck Festival. This is sponsored by the City of Havre Grace, and the on-site contact person will be Bambi Johnson. This is a festival that will occur down at Concord Point Park. The setup is on May the 6th, starting at 10 a.m. The event is from 1 p.m. until 9 p.m., with the breakdown around 10 o'clock. There will be fireworks that follow. There is a rain date of May 7th, 2023. I would like to add on the rain date, we are still working with the fireworks shooters to make sure they can make that date. They're definitely on for the 6th, but the 7th, we're still working out the details. In your packet, you'll see anticipated attendance is about 3,000. There's a very detailed listing of what the event will bring to the city, the location and so forth. Also, the location map at the in your packet, as is the costing sheet. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gamatoria. Council, I have a motion to approve Defenders Day Food Truck Festival.
Second.
Motion by the Council President, second by Councilmember Shanegas. Questions or comments on this event? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Defenders Day and Food Truck Festival, May 6, 2023, 1 o'clock to 8 o'clock at Concord Point Park is approved 5-0 in the affirmative. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next event is the National Diabetes and Community Health Initiative Walk. This is sponsored by the Al Nas Temple, number 255 of Havre Grace. Kevin Cosby Sr. is the point of contact. This is a walk through the city. There's a map associated with the walk route. This event will be on, the setup will be on the June the 3rd at 7 a.m. The walk will occur from 8 a.m. until 11:30. The actual breakdown will be around 11 a.m. just prior to the walk closing out. They'll close out down at the park with the finish line. The costing sheet is included, as is their insurance papers, and we're looking forward to this walk. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Council, can I get a motion to approve the National Diabetes and Community Health Initiative Walk?
Second.
Councilmember Martin, seconded by Council President. Questions or comments? Council President.
I had a chance to go to this last year. Yeah, last year was the first event, and I got to tell you, all those guys, they're good friends. They're Shriners from the Prince Hall Lodge, the El Nas Shrine, active here in Havre Grace, and they're really giving back to the community. It was such a blast going down there, hanging out with them. And unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town that day, but I hope that maybe I'll get Johnny Booker to go out there and represent me. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Council President. Any other further questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All All opposed, say nay. National Diabetes Community Health Initiative Walk for June 3rd, 2023 is approved by council, 5-0 in the affirmative. Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, the next event is the Senator Bob Hooper House Regatta. This is sponsored by Upper Chesapeake Health. Donna Lensner will be the point of contact. The event will take place on the 9th of June from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. The setup will be on the 6th, June the 7th and 8th, and possibly a day or so earlier than that with the tent setup, and it's very weather dependent. If it looks like it's dry enough to get in there earlier, they will. If they foresee weather coming later in the week, then they'll get in there earlier. The breakdown will be on the 10th at 10 o'clock. This is an anticipated attendance of about 450. This is, again, an annual event that's taken place here in the city, previously known as the Harford Hospice Regatta. The map is enclosed, as is their insurance papers and the city costing sheet. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. McGamatoria. Council, I have a motion to approve the Senator Bob Hooper House Regatta.
So moved.
Motion by Councilmember Boyer, second by Councilmember Martin. Questions or comments? Yes.
Just want to take this moment for us all just to remember and reflect on Senator Bob Hooper, who was an absolutely amazing man, and the fact that we have a piece of his memory here in Havre de Grace, I think, is extra special. He was a great senator for all of us, and he was just a wonderful man through and through. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Senator Bob Hooper House Regatta for June 9, 2023 is approved 5-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gambatori.
Thank you, Mayor. Council, the next event is the historic ship Maryland Dove on its visit to Havre de Grace. This will take place down at Hutchins Park, and it's sponsored by the Maryland Heritage Authority, Historic St. Mary's City Commission, and the City of Havre de Grace. Captain Will Gates will be the contact person on site. The ship will arrive sometime during the June the 23rd, probably midday. The event will be both the 24th and the 25th. It'll wrap up at 5 p.m. on the 25th. The decks will be open from 10 to 5 p.m. each day. Parking and accommodations will be made down at Hutchins Park. Free tours of the ship will occur down at that location. The costing sheet is in the back of your packet. And Council, we're looking forward to bringing the Dove back. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Council, I have a motion to approve the Maryland Dove visit.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Martin, second by Councilmember Zinner. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The Maryland Dove visit to Havre de Grace, June 24th, 25th, 2023, from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock, will be docked at Hutchins Memorial Park, and that event is approved 5-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gambatori.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, the next one is our own Havre de Grace Arts Commission with the Children's Art Festival. The contact person will be Amy Steelman. The event will be down at Miller Tidings Park. It'll occur on September the 9th, beginning at 11 a.m. till 3 p.m. with a setup of 8 p.m. and a teardown at 4:30. This is an event that the children look forward to each year. Typically, we get between 300 and 400 children that from the city that attend the event. The map is in the packet, and we changed the Waterfront Festival, which is the same day, adjusted their hours this year to accommodate the Arts Festival, so it wouldn't be a competing event. So both the Arts Commission, we would like to thank the Waterfront Festival and Bambi Johnson for her work with making both the events the great success that they can be. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Council, I have a motion to approve the Children's Art Festival.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Zinner and a second by Councilmember Shenagus. Questions or comments? Councilmember Shenagus? Oh, I'm sorry. Councilmember Zinner.
No, I just want to thank the Waterfront Festival for being able to accommodate the change in the schedule. Last year, we felt that there were definitely competing interests, and I think this year it'll be a lot nicer for all parties concerned. So I really want to thank them for being able to manage the schedule.
Thank you. Councilmember Shenanigans?
Thank you, Mayor. The Children's Arts Festival is a wonderful event. I think that right after school starts, the kids are excited to be back out in the community, and it's a great way to segue into one of the fine special things that kids enjoy outside of learning. And it's a family-oriented event, and the years that I've attended it, I just see the happy faces of the children, the parents, and just to allow them to express themselves in a way that, you know, has been presented by our wonderful Arts Commission. So I encourage everyone to come on out and enjoy the event.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Children's Art Festival, September 9, 2023, 11 o'clock to 3 o'clock is approved, 5-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gamatori.
Thank you, Mayor. And last but not least is the Myers-Manx Dune Buggy Show, sponsored by the Friends of Concord Point Lighthouse. It'll take place on the grounds down at Concord Park. Miss Carol Allen, who spoke on this earlier, will be the on-site point of contact. The event is on September the 16th from 9:30 until 12:30, with a setup at 8:30 and a breakdown at 1:30. The event description and overview is in your packet, which goes through the detail, as is the Myers-Manx Manxmania marketing flat that they've put out that discusses this event in particular, and the fact that one of the founding members, who is in her 90s, will make the trip from the West Coast to this event down at Concord Point.
A dune buggy?
No, not on a dune buggy. So the event will take place on the grass, as you see. However, if there's weather conditions that come up, then we'll have alternative plans where we'll likely close the roadway down and have the event along Concord Street. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for good weather that day. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gamatoria. Item, have a motion to approve the Myers-Manx Dune Buggy Show.
So moved. Second.
Motion by the Council President, seconded by Councilmember Martin. Questions or comments on the event? Council President.
So the Myers-Manx, if you think about the Volkswagen Dune buggies, they're very distinct, like the beach buggies you see out there. They're not like the little kids' Dune buggies. You take a Volkswagen bug, you take the body off, and you got left with the pan and the frame. You chop it and shorten it. I believe Mr. Gamatori used to have one as well. And but they do have a different style that's longer, that it isn't chopped, but they're pretty rare. We do have one of those here in Havre Grace that we'll be making a show up there, owned by former Councilman Mike Hitchings. We'll have his there. So we're working on that right now, but we're super excited about this show.
Was Herbie?
No, it's a
Was
fiberglass.
Herbie, but Herbie on the show.
No,
Tell me
Herbie
if I
was
remember
a 1965 Volkswagen Kaffer bug.
Okay, but it wasn't a dune buggy.
It was not a dune buggy, no.
Point of order. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. All right, Council, Myers-Manx Dune Buggy Show, September 16, 2003. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The event is approved, 5-0 in the affirmative.
Yay.
Thank you, Council.
You aren't even old enough to remember that.
Sir, I have built one of those. I taught myself how to weld on one of those.
We're going to go to item 16, Director's Reports. We're going to start with the Director of Administration, Mr. Gamatori. Good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A couple items, Council. First of all, I would like to thank you for the support on Budget Amendment 2023-12. But probably more importantly, Ms. Johnson would like to thank you so she can reimburse her budget $5,000. A couple items to council or to Pastor Norman's point, we'll make a friendly amendment at the next meeting, Council President, that I just contacted Habitat for Humanity, and it is in fact Habitat for Humanity Susquehanna. So we'll make that amendment to the ordinance and the surplusing. Two items of note from Comcast, our supplier for all things internet. There's the good news is the regional sports network fee will be $12.35, not the posted $12.45. So they sent us a notice to pass that on to the citizens. There's a 10-cent savings. With that, starting April 2nd, HBO and HBO Max will increase $1 for a 90-cent net loss. But we're required to post those through the franchising agreement. And lastly, but certainly not least, tomorrow begins the candidacy filings for the City Council. All the packets are out front with the receptionist, and we encourage anyone that's interested in participating as a member of City Council to file. And anyone that wishes to register to vote, there's also those opportunities both on our website, also here at City Hall, and up at Harford County, the election board. So with that, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, sir. And we're going to move on to Mr. Tim Boursier, Director of Planning.
Good evening, everybody. First, I just have a recap on our February permits. We had 12 new construction permits. 11 of those are in Phase 2 of Greenway Farm, and one of those is a infill lot, I believe, on Girard Street. And we had 5 renovation permits. So we're still kind of plugging away slowly but surely, in spite or despite of the current economic conditions, inflation, and cost of materials. We've also been reviewing landscape plans for projects and other things. So there's a lot of development that seems to be coming up into the pipeline in the near future. There is also, it appears to be a lot of grant money that's available out there. So I just wanted to let all of you know that the department is looking at and participating in different webinars with the U.S. Department of Transportation, Housing and Urban Development, and trying to look at any of those opportunities that are available to find funds available for projects that are out there that could help the city and its residents. We have a Planning Commission meeting on next Monday, March 13th at 7 o'clock. Following that meeting, we will have a comprehensive plan work session. We're still plugging away on that, making progress. If anybody is interested in that, they're more than welcome to attend. We have recently received comments from EDAB that will be very helpful for the document in general, but also for our economic development section. So that's going well. And lastly, thanks to everyone who's given comments on the short-term rental ordinance and all the landlords and different people we've met with on the long-term rental ordinance. We have a lot of good information, and we're working to kind of wrap that up in some package and get it to all of you to make some important decisions on rental units for the city. That's it for the Planning Department. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Boursier. Appreciate the update. We're going to go to Ms. Bridget Johnson, Director of Economic Development and Tourism. Good evening, Ms. Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, citizens at home. Couple of quick updates. We received approval for our second Maryland Smart Energy Agency Award. The grant was in the amount of $44,705. This will be used to continue replacing the city-owned indoor and outdoor LED lights. You've seen them in the hallways and our offices here in the police department, so we are expanding into our other buildings. We submitted a proposal to the National Park Service Chesapeake Gateways project for $48,000 to finance a collection of audio tours to encourage outdoor recreation tourism in Havre. We should know if our application is approved in April 2023. We also submitted a proposal for $100,000 to MHAA Capital Improvement Heritage Tourism to finance a one-on-one match for up to $100,000 for new public restrooms for the visitor center. So thank you. I will gladly use the $5,000 that was just transferred to my budget, and I only need $95,000 more. That's coming. We intend to submit a community legacy grant, I have not forgot, Mayor, through the Department of Housing and Community Development for the construction of new restrooms at Hutchins Park. This is a grant. It is not matching. It will be a little bit, a little bit more than the grant for the Visitor Center. The window for this grant opens in May. We should have until August to submit our application, but we fully intend to ask for the max. The Economic Development Advisory Board will meet on Wednesday, March 15th, 4:00 p.m. in council chambers. And I would like to personally thank, welcome Heather Dino to the EDAB. We are very excited to have her, to have a local business person, a person located on the Route 40 corridor. She's a member of the Havre Grace Chamber, the Aberdeen Chamber, and we are happy to have her. So thank you for approving her application. In tourism, we are conducting a marketing and quality of life survey to residents and visitors. Everyone here should have received the survey within an email that we sent out through our tourism manager. The survey is also located on the city website, as well as explorehavregrace.com, our Facebook, Instagram pages, and all of the economic development pages. So we look forward to compiling that information and having a report ready for you in the near future. We are also accepting applications for vendors for First Fridays. Applications can be found on Explore Havre Grace website and Facebook page. The Tourism Advisory Board will meet on Wednesday, March 15th, 10 a.m. here in council chambers, and those meetings are open to the public. We will continue to visit redoing the Explore Havre Grace website and Facebook pages. We have been talking about this for months, so we are moving one page at a time. We have updated a total of 5 pages. We have 2 more to go. So for all citizens, residents, everyone listening, please visit explorehavregrace.com, plus our Facebook page. We're asking for all of your input, and this is the page to go to find out about events and activities taking place in the city. Are there any questions?
Council, any questions for Ms. Johnson?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Good news on the grants. We're going to go to the Director of Public Works, Mr. E.J. Malazar. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Mayor, Council President, council members, citizens. First, I'm going to talk about a tragedy that happened in Westmount, Illinois to a DPW worker. I'm going to give some project updates, and then I'm going to talk about how citizens can get more involved in the community. Last week, a DPW worker from Westmont, Illinois died while servicing a water main break. So our sincere condolences go out to the DPW worker, Matt Hayden, and the Hayden family. To note, this past year was the worst year in documented history for employee injuries. So I want to remind our citizens to practice some patience on these projects and for our employees to focus on getting the job done right and being safe while doing so. I want to emphasize that. And I want to tell you that we redoubled our efforts this year on safety, assigned 2 new safety coordinators, Steve Carlton and David Morrell. We look forward to seeing those numbers rapidly decline in the new year. Some project updates. The trolley port at the Star Center is underway. There's a nice new concrete pad that was placed earlier today, and that project's coming along very nicely. Next, the BG&E gas line project on Lewis and Revolution. It's been very loud and frustrating for some of the residents in the area. We've contacted, operations specialists contacted BG&E. I've been informed that the gas line should be replaced within the next 2 weeks. That doesn't include the storm drain. I will have more to follow on my next report. Third, the Marina fuel tank project's underway. Traffic patterns, if you've driven the area, you see that they're disrupted. Please be patient. That's about approximately 8 weeks, so just in time for spring fishing for the council president. Lastly, I want to talk about how everybody can get involved. If you listen to some of the previous meetings, you've heard Chief talk about some of the graffiti. You've talked about some of the different problems in the area. If you remember Christmas, some of the trees were vandalized. So some of these problems I just want everybody to be a lookout for, and they can contribute and help by Earth Day. Earth Day, we're going to have a citywide cleanup effort. I want the citizens involved. Many hands make light work, so we want to see you out there working alongside DPW and rolling up their sleeves. Help spread the word. Visit the website for more. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, EJ. Any questions for Mr. Malazer? Perfect. Thank you very much for your update.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Chief, right. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Right back at you.
Yeah, it's been one of those long days. So just to kind of dove for what EJ was talking about when it comes to the graffiti and the damage to the trees and stuff like that, it is very, very important, as he said, about getting involved. If you see something, please clean it up. If you are the victim of graffiti, try to clean it up as soon as you possibly can. The CAT team does such a great job picking up trash, that type of thing, throughout the entire city, because our city cares and our people care, and which is very, very important to also reduce crime. Most people don't realize that, but when you start seeing all of these things pop up, there is a sense that crime is also increasing. So it is very, very important to really pay attention to what is going on in your community and to help clean up if you see any of these things. The other thing I want to mention, I know it's not spring yet, but it surely does feel like it's right around the corner. I hope I haven't jinxed anything. But it is the spring National Prescription Drug Take-Back is scheduled for Saturday, April the 22nd, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can bring any any prescription drugs that you're no longer using, instead of just throwing them in the trash can or down on the commode or the sink. Please bring them to our police station and we will go ahead and destroy them for you. And there's 5 other locations in addition to the Havre de Grace Police Department. There's the Harford County office building located at 220 South Main Street in Bel Air. The Bel Air Police Department, which is at 39 North Hickory Avenue. Aberdeen Police Department, also at 60 North Park Street in Aberdeen. And Maryland State Police, which is at 1400 Bel Air Road in Benson in Bel Air. And of course, Wegmans is also participating in that as well. So please keep that in mind. It's never too soon to start cleaning out and getting rid of all those prescription medications that you might have. The other thing I want to mention real quick, because a couple of citizens have called me about it. I know I recently spoke about different scams when people are calling residents up and saying, oh, you haven't showed up for this, or this is a police department, we need you to do this or that. The one most recently that we've encountered, that some of our citizens have encountered, was the jury duty scam, where somebody's calling somebody up and saying that, oh, you haven't showed up for jury duty, you failed to appear for jury duty, so there is a fine or a bond that you now have to pay. So they might ask for your social security number, your bank account number, anything like that. Please do not give them that information. That is absolutely a scam. No one, as I've said before, nobody from the IRS, no police department is going to call you and ask you to give your social security number or your bank account numbers, or ask you to get gift cards as a means to pay for the fine or the bond. We don't do that. We are not interested in doing that. So again, if you haven't solicited or if you haven't made the call, do not fall for that scam. Please, please do not do that. So please pay attention to that. And finally, last but not least, I want to congratulate Sergeant Dan Petz. He was named for in Harford Magazine for the best police officer in Harford County, and I have to agree with that. He's an amazing police officer, and I'm really proud that he's a member of our police department, which should also encourage people then to apply for the Havre de Grace Police Department. I'm just saying. Again, we're still accepting applications for recruit or for lateral positions. We also have openings for police dispatchers. So please, you can go on the city website and fill out the application, or you can call the 939-2121, and we will be more than happy to give you plenty of information about how you can become a Havre de Grace police officer. And we have the big signs now. Yeah. You come down 155 into Superior Street. Mr. Fair was nice enough to allow us to put one of the signs there. So that would be it, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate it.
Chief, could we put one of those signs in front of Jeff Gaylor's sign up 155?
I've actually even thought about that. I am not beyond doing that.
Thank you very much, Chief. We're going to move on to business from the mayor's office. I only had a couple things to talk about. So this Saturday at the Star Center, we have another band, tribute band coming. And if I say the word Kashmir, what group am I talking about? Led Zeppelin, there you go. The group is called Kashmir, and it is the #1 Led Zeppelin tribute band in the United States. We've been waiting for a long time to bring this band to the Star Center. It's going to be this Saturday at March 11th. Doors open at 7, and the show starts at 8. You can go to Eventbrite and purchase tickets for the show. We hope to see you there. It's going to be great. And I don't want to ramble on about it anymore, but you got it? Okay, come on. You got to speak up if you get it. Okay. Ramble on? All right, sorry. All right, bad. That's right. Okay. I'll just stop there with the Led Zeppelin jokes. Okay. But yes, so please, you get a chance Saturday night, not do nothing, head out to the Star Center, have a nice time. Also, as folks know, the city is in the process of engineer and design work with tool design for a downtown restoration project. Hopefully, if the wind blows right and God willing, we can start this fall. But I just wanted the citizens to know that the city has occupied temporarily the building that was once Amanda's Florist on the corner of Washington and Pennington. And primarily the reason we did that is we knew we were going to need a staging area for this project. We like to have someone on site as often as we can once this project starts. So if citizens and businesses have questions, they can get real-time information, real-time answers. But also, as right now, as we get information, any updates, any new project engineering design done, we'll try to post it in the window as well. So we just want people to know if you're walking downtown near Amanda's Florist and you look in the window and you see stuff, we try to update it as we get the information. So I want everyone to know that we're going to make this as transparent as we can. I realized there was a little bit of consternation from businesses when Baltimore Gas Electric was digging up the roads with the gas lines and things like that. And we have a good working relationship with Baltimore Gas Electric. We're very happy that we're replacing very, very old utilities. Sometimes they give us a heads up. Sometimes, depending on weather or events, they have to switch their job that day, and they don't always tell us. They don't have to tell us. You know, they're utilities. They come and do stuff. So we just want everyone to know the way the city is going to handle the restoration project. When we do begin, it's going to be different. We will be there. There'll be a representative of the city there on site at Amanda's Florist, and information will be posted. So I just want everybody to know, if you're walking past Amanda's and you're looking in the window, that's the city now occupies that space temporarily. We're renting that building. But it's for communication with the citizens. And Mr. Malizer already said, of course, there's new traffic pattern down at Tidings Park because they're replacing marina fuel tanks, and that should take, a little under, about almost 2 months. So I know everybody likes to cruise the yacht basin. It's everybody's favorite trip in Havre. Just go down Commerce Street, go around Promenade Grill, go back up. And, we all do it, but there's new traffic patterns, so just be heads up. And that'd be it for me. I told you, I have only a few things to say tonight. Hope to see you at the Kashmir concert at the Star Center. And with that said, we're going to take it over to comments from the legislators of the city. And we're going to start with Councilmember Shanegas.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, Administration, citizens in the audience and at home. Well, the luck of the Irish is with us. This month is going to be very busy in downtown area with the businesses and the restaurants with events going on. As our beautiful Miss Johnson mentioned, check explorehavertygrace.com and Facebook, because there's a lot of events and there's choices and there's events that take place where you can attend more than one event. So just please, bring your friends out, and there's family friendly events as well. It's not just about the adults having a good time. It's also about the children and the families. So check that out. Also, that same weekend, there is an opportunity for you to give blood at the ambulance corps. They have a blood drive going on. So you can check out the website there to get information, as well as go to the Red Cross website for that. And as you are going forward with spring events, be sure this Sunday to set your clock back and spring forward 1 hour so you'll be ready to enjoy this weather that's coming in. And just want to thank everyone for being out and about on Sunday and being safe with that new traffic pattern. I saw people, a lot of people on Sunday out, and some people were walking, some people were in their cars, but everybody was trying to be careful with their pets, with their children, and I think it's great that DPW did a nice job getting it set up for us. So thank you very much, and I wish all of you a wonderful week. Back to you, Mayor.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council President, Council, admin staff, those here in the audience, and also those at home watching this. The Water and Sewer Commission wants to thank the mayor and council for allowing us to do our presentation at the end of the month. The Water and Sewer Commission will be meeting this Friday at 3 p.m. to wrap up the presentation on the water and sewer. And we want to thank Mr. Boissier for all his efforts on House Bill 556, and now that is the cannabis bill and all the zoning issues that came up, and now they said it's a hard work, it's a fast turnaround for him to make these changes to the city that need to be done to our city code. So we want to thank you for the time you spent working with Annapolis and now working to get the city back on the right track. With that, Mr. Mayor, my comments for the night.
Thank you very much, Councilor Martin. Good evening, Councilor Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to let everybody know that the Street and Traffic Safety Committee met last week. One of the things that's coming up, and we're putting out a request to everyone to be aware of and send us feedback on places within the city where we need to have repairs made to the sidewalks. That's what our committee is going to be focusing on in the next couple of months. We're going to try to identify places that the sidewalks need to be repaired. We already went through the process of prioritizing them, hopefully for the budget, so that we can get a couple of sidewalks put in. But there's also repairs around town that we've been made aware of that we're going to start collecting the list and prioritizing that list as well. The Green Team will be having a movie on the 16th of March at 7 p.m. The topic is Fixing Food, and it tells the story about people who work to reduce the carbon footprint for the food that we need. So it should be pretty interesting. I personally like these movies because not only do you get an opportunity to, chit-chat with everyone and watch the movie, but afterwards we always have a very interesting and thought-provoking discussion that goes along with it. So if you're a movie kind of person and you really like to have somebody just to process through what you just saw and try to make it relatable, it's kind of interesting. Along those lines, and tonight we had the Cultural Exchange Commission, 2 new members. There's going to be a TAM chat, and that's where we hook up with our colleagues in Mumbles to just have a general discussion about, it could be any of a number of topics of what's going on, current events, et cetera. It's a good opportunity just to find out what's happening in their communities and vice versa, to share information. That is going to be on the 15th of March at 12:30. If you're interested in this, I highly encourage you to reach out to Deb Stathis and to get information on how to call into it and become more active, more involved. This year, we will be going, a group of us from Havre will be going to Mumbles, and they're going the process now of trying to figure out how many people can go, and then we'll go through a process, figure who, prioritizing people to go. So it's pretty exciting, lots of things coming down the pike, and I'll have more to report to everybody in a couple of weeks or months. And finally, I want to thank the county executive and the county council for appointing me to the Harford County Planning and Advisory Board, and I look forward to working with Shane Grimm again, who is the Director of Planning. So that's it. Thank you all very much. Take care.
Thank you, Councilor Boyer.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members, members of the audience, and those at home. I don't really have too much to say this evening, but I do want to thank the council president for introducing the amendment to the city code for increasing the number of the members for the Historic Preservation Commission. This is something we've been working on for some time, and they have been getting applications. No final decisions yet in terms of who would take those spots, but with the public hearing tonight, we see that it's moving forward, and once it passes, then we will have some more feedback from the commission members in terms of adding those individuals. We also had 2 openings as well, so it's 4 people that we need for this commission. So I just want to thank that, and I just recently came back from Costa Rica, which was interesting in that they're making ecotourism their main revenue stream. So they find that they can make more money than cutting down the rainforest and putting cattle on it. And so ecotourism is quite the thing there. And what I found interesting about the 2 countries, Panama and Costa Rica, they border Guatemala and the other one that's a hotbed.
Belize.
Begins with an N. Nicaragua, and Honduras and Guatemala. So I just think the geopolitics is interesting in that you have you have 2 countries there that have no army, and yet they're bordered by countries that can't seem to rule themselves. So that's all I'm going to say about it. But anyway, they're my comments for this evening. But it was an interesting time, and seeing the Panama Canal was a chance of a lifetime. So
Welcome home.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Zenner. And we're going to go to business from Council President Springsoccer.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I've got quite a bit to say. First off, I want to start off by thanking Mr. E.J. Malizer from DPW, because as you guys all know, I'm a Assistant Scoutmaster, just like Councilmember Martin was as well. And, you know, being part of that and being active in the city, a lot of the kids come to me with looking for Eagle projects and stuff to do, volunteer work around the city, and he's just been amazing in helping me help the kids. And just, they reach out to me with projects, and he's like, hey, I've got this, and this. And the kids have an idea, I can send them to him, and we've got a lot of stuff lined up for the city. Never seen so many Eagle projects going on in the city at one time. Oh my gosh, no shortage of work. And what's great about that is it actually saves you tax money. So if we can get this free work from the kids, yeah, there we go, right? So mentioning kids, we got a scout out here today, Braden Harvey. He came from my troop to come talk. We had another kid, Paul Davis, another scout here. But Braden, I tell you what's really special about him is it comes full circle, because his great-grandfather was one of my scoutmasters and a very instrumental man in my life. And I miss him. He was a great man, and it was wonderful to be able to give back to his family. So what I want you to do after the meeting is go see Braden and talk to him about the Boy Scout Spaghetti Dinner this Saturday. That's at Level Fire Hall from 4 to 7. And if he doesn't have tickets, I think I might have a few. So hit us up, and we will have tickets. It's 4 to 7 on Saturday at the Level Fire Hall. So you make sure you go out there and support the troops, support the boys. Actually, they get a large portion of that back from the committee to help pay for Scout Camp. And because it's crazy expensive now. Inflation has really hit BSA hard. So come out and help the boys. The 22nd of April is opening day for Little League. It is their 75th year, and I believe they have a special guest throwing out the ball. So I don't think you're throwing out the ball this year, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
So
Nobody
you couldn't get it across the plate anyways.
Nobody gets hurt then.
Yeah. I would like to take the time to correct Councilmember Shanegas, so we don't set the clocks back, we spring forward.
Oh, you know what I did say? I did say spring forward. I did say set your clock back.
Yep.
And then spring forward an hour. So I did
right,
say
okay.
it properly in
I
my
didn't
correction.
catch it. I was notified. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I do have one piece of business here that came in after we did set the agenda, and it's about the bond initiative that we had previously. So I make a motion to ratify and affirm the authority of the mayor pursuant to ordinance 1036 to execute such documents as may be necessary for the issuance of the 20-year bond for the remaining $6,917,381.66 of the original $15 million bond financing that was approved by the voters at the special session held February 4th, 2020. The bond will be executed during the March-April of 2023, and CDA estimates the yield to be at 5.75, resulting in an effective aggregate interest rate of approximately 3.9%, compliant with Ordinance 1036. And I do make that motion, Mr. Mayor, so we can go ahead and hold those rates now with the previously approved bond ordinance.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, second by Councilman Martin. Questions or comments on what the council president made a motion for?
I just want to clarify that the need for this to go forward now is because our interest rates are increasing, and it will be actually saving the city money by going now, because we'll get it at a better interest rate, and we do need the money in order to complete the projects that we have planned.
Correct.
Thank you.
So, if I may, Mr. Mayor, the city issued a 20-year bond, issued 20-year bonds totaling $8,082,618.34 on August 1st, 2020 at a rate of 2.29, and the city has used $5,809,528.76 on water and sewer infrastructure through 12/8/22. The city has expended an additional $2,094,376.96 on projects to be funded by the bond through 2023, leaving an unused proceeds balance of $178,712.62. Did you catch that?
Yes, I caught it. And I just also want to say under the question that the way the referendum was worded to the citizens when we took this, the money out, remember, it was a special election in February 2020, that the bond would not exceed 4%. So the first draw we did was at, what, 2.25, 2.29? Yeah. This one's going to be 5.75, but the overall rate is going to be at 3.9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3.9.
Yeah, 3.9. So we need to do it now to stay in compliance with the verbiage of the referendum. So that's another reason why it's important we do it now. Just let everybody know.
Yep.
Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Council President's motion is approved 5-0 and affirmative. Thank you very much, Council President and Council. Okay, we're going to go to item 19. Yeah, thanks for bringing up daylight savings time.
Yeah, it does hurt.
As one of my students said the other day, daylight savings time, ain't nobody got time for that. That's what he said to me, so. The eyes of an 8th grader, right? Who's got time for that? I'm like, yeah, that's
Monday after is the worst
a
day of the
good
year.
point. Ain't nobody got time for daylight savings time. Council, have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Councilmember Martin, second by Councilmember Boyer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. The time is 8:34. We are now going to adjourn the March 6, 2023 council meeting. We thank everybody for paying attention, for joining us this evening, and we'll see you on March 20th. Everybody have a good evening.